Yo, it's Joe and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be continuing the rest of the Calamity Wrap-Up. So yeah, guys, stay tuned till the end for my thoughts. I'll be giving my thoughts as I watch. But anyways, let's see what this bad boy's about.
His older brother got married and became sort of the mayor of Kath Moira, and you unmarried are like, no, I did become the dragon, and all that stuff just becomes
I was that guy
in the background. I just loved it. I think all that
I was who you thought I was.
Rich. I feel like we've been away from questions for a second.
They keep
scrolling. Lou.
Yeah.
Nidus was a pirate who became the key to.
So natural.
So natural.
Yeah, it's very natural.
Yeah. I'm so good at intros and outros and
the best.
segues.
He sure is.
Nidus was a pirate who became the key to Avalier's resources. Does he feel as though his dreams were realized even though the city fell?
Great question, Brendan.
That is like super interesting too, because when you think about like a pirate and what a pirate does, a pirate like is more of like, I'm gonna take for myself and only for myself, only has their best interest at heart. But he was the kind of person who, yeah, he was probably not a good person. As we all know, I'm not too big a fan of like who he was as a person. But you know, he wasn't the selfish pirate that you would think of when you think of pirate. He actually used his wealth and what he got in order to basically create an empire for himself, but it did ultimately help you know, his city, his people, you know. So I think that that's admirable in a way, you know. That's a different take on that sort of an archetype of a character.
Really good. No, I don't think so. I base the character a lot in terms of his how his thought process on like a mix of John Hammond from Jurassic Park in the book and in the movie. Because in the book, he's a real monster, and in the movie, he's a real sweetie. And I do think kind of in like the Jurassic Park sense, it's like the goal is not just to make the city great. The goal is to make this, and the dangerous part is that the goal is to make the city great and then show it to the world and prove it every day for the rest of our lives. And
do you think, right, that during his escapades, like going on like what he's saying about like proving it to his people and stuff like that, right? Do you think, right, this is just your own headcanon, that Nidus was a pretty big scumbag during his time as a pirate? Maybe he was that, you know, typical pirate, right? And do you think that the reason that he wanted to give back to his people and kind of build this empire for himself and basically, you know, was able to provide services to his people, to his city, you know, do you think that that was like in a way for him to atone in your sense, you know, like what do you guys think about like his character? Like, because obviously they all have their own idea of their characters that they made, and in this particular, you know, scenario, I'm talking about Nidus. But what do you think? Like, what is your idea of like maybe what Nidus did prior to us seeing him? You know, what was he like then? And I'm curious, is there anything Critical Role related as well that gets into like the history of the characters, of what they may or may not have done like before and after this? Or maybe like a mention of, oh, that person, you know, Nidus, oh, he was, you know, was one of the people who saved us, but ultimately caused calamity. But yeah, prior to the calamity, he was this kind of person. But, you know, up until his death, he was a good guy. Like, or somebody like Sarret, like, you know, Sarret's mentioned like, oh, you know, Sarret was with, you know, the group of people who helped us to, you know, survive, the group of people who were able to survive anyways, who were fleeing, you know, the city. But is he like mentioned, or are there like Easter eggs dropped about these people in the lore? You know, is there any additional lore on these people? So to bring it all home, what's the lore situation regarding these characters, and what is your headcanon regarding these characters and the kind of people they were prior? What do you think they got up to prior to us meeting them? And somebody like Sarah, what do you think happened after? If there's not like any information given.
Have everyone come up and kneel before me and say, great job, you really made something amazing. Like just bringing dinosaurs back, I could give a shit. Or just like just making Avalier great and making it this hub of commerce where everyone can live and where there is no strife and hot
Bro's wearing
do
the MAGA
everything
hat.
you want and you only experience weather once a week. Nah, fuck that. We need to go to the celestial plane. That is when things will matter, and that's when people will care. So I don't think his dream is realized, but I think in the moment where you killed us,
I just want to say something.
No.
Matt Mercer made up the Calamity.
No,
okay?
Matt
Mercer made it up. And I'm over here
That's
bad copping it,
crazy.
okay?
No. You don't get to put that on Matt because you did some things, okay, in this to make all of us sad, Brennan. You did things that you didn't need to do, but you did them anyways. All right. I don't want to hear that. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Phenomenal job. Phenomenal masterclass job. But I don't want to hear it. You know what you did.
So you gave birth to us, and Matt killed us.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Away.
You know?
I'm in the delivery room, but you know, there's.
well, I specifically mean when you killed us with the tree.
Oh yeah.
Which is you.
Yeah.
The tree didn't have to be that wild. The tree could have just split open, you know, like it seemed like it was gonna. And then in the 4th episode, for the first second, aka 2 hours,
2 hours,
you
bro.
murdered us ruthlessly. That's you.
that.
That's you.
That
All
was
I'm
so
saying
cool.
is everyone
That was.
loved-
I have never seen something like that in any sort of a storytelling ever. Like something where it's slowed down and you see everything as it's slowed down for that long and how it affects everybody involved. Just the way that was like so cool. I'm pretty sure that was the first time I remember seeing something like that. Like there may be, you know, similar things that I've seen where somebody gets hit or something and it's like slow motion of showing them get hit, but it goes back to real time. No, this was just a second. Not even. It was like less than a second for how long? Like was it like 30, 45 minutes, maybe more than that. And then it got to a sec. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. I've never seen that before ever. So cool, and the way that he did it and was able to stick the landing on the spot, very cool. I'm sure he planned it, but still, when it comes to doing it on the spot like that and making sure it works with everybody in the moment, he did a great job.
Loves it when Matt says 2/3 of Exandria is gone, but when it actually starts to happen and we're making saving throws for an hour of game time, all of a sudden people got some shit to say. That's all I'm saying.
But in that moment, I do think that's Nidus's moment of being like, okay, the ambition is too much, and right now there is something to lose, which is just what Avalier is, which is a community of people doing great things, and that must be preserved.
I actually earlier wanted to ask, because what you're talking about is like the change, the realization that you had, and the kind of arc that you went on. When we're talking about the secrets and all the, you know, this nasty stuff, but the moment, you know, I think a lot of the characters realize and had a moment of like really looking at themselves in the mirror, and that's kind of where it started for you.
Yeah, I think it's not until Laren is trying to blow up the tree that this fucked up prophecy I got, it's told me might be important. That's the first time it's like, wait. If these two things are if this
I
is
forgot
it,
about the prophecy. Let me bring
like
these notes
enacting
up real quick.
this thing that this person has told me is the inevitable end of Avalier, then actually we need to stop. Now, like I know I've been
Please, we
shoveling
need to
coal
stop.
into this engine, but can we please hit the brakes? Can we please in this moment hit the brakes? And the answer is we can't.
You told a prodigy that you had enabled for decades.
So I took notes. This was episode 2. Yeah, this was episode 2, part 6 of my reaction when they said the stars are leaving us and can no longer reach the limbs of the tree. You can no longer scribe the name of deliverance, and it will soon be broken as a promises. Will soon be as broken as promises. All shall fall, and the hands who form the world will banish themselves from all they made. It literally told us what was going to happen. They got banished, and yeah, the stars left you, the tree, everything. Yeah, that kind of sort of came true in its own cryptic way, which is why, Laren probably had to do that, or Bria had to have Laren do that. Not only did it fit the character, but it also kind of helped with that prophecy there. And I wonder if Laren, or Bria, I should say, I wonder if Bria took that into account when she did that. Interesting. Okay, never mind. Let's go.
No, for the first time, and thought that was gonna go a different way.
Hey, what's up, dude? I can dream.
I
man can dream.
know that you have the commitment to take a character that's supposed to be bad and make them bad, which is why Nidus's sudden third act shift into the moral core of it felt so earned. What was that like? Because I feel like you must have surprised yourself following that.
I think I got caught off guard when you were like, I'm gonna cast Blight on it, and I was like, wait. Like it was that moment where you were like, and you were very kind in that you did it very slowly. You were like, I raised my hand to cast Blight. You don't go, I cast Blight. So in that moment, I was like, oh shit. Wait.
It's getting crazy.
I have to explain this to you that I've kind of been sitting on, and it's kind of.
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Did he ever did the prophecy that he got was that talked about? I forget. He never got a chance to.
I think we might be fucking
Is
up
that
real
what
bad.
this is? Yeah. That's funny.
I know people were rolling insight checks to figure out if I was telling the truth or not, and you could tell I was lying and you didn't ask about it. But now I kind of want to talk about it.
That's crazy.
It was a weird thing of being like, all right. But then also,
the meme wait, let me tell you something. That was Nidus was like, wait, hold on, wait, let me tell you something. Hold on before, but it was too late.
Quietly knowing in my head that I'm like, well, if even just me saying it is not enough, and then it came to blows, and it was like, oh, okay. But it was, the first hitch of you being like, I'm gonna kill it, was me going, wait, I have to tell everybody this thing and what this means. And then when everyone else didn't back down, when that didn't work, I was
so
like,
he did. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to try and stop this. And this is now on me. You gave me this prophecy, and now I'm the only one who can do anything about it.
Without a saving throw, to watch a prophecy actually drive someone to panic, you know what I mean? It happened in real time of the prophet, the thing. It also was very, I don't know, I just love these characters. I love all of your characters so fucking much. And I love that of the shady, of the trouble, of the trouble troika.
Who's your favorite
The Trouble Troika.
The Trouble Troika? What the hell does that mean?
What I love about it is Nidus's story.
What's a troika?
All of the three of you in your present time are so well matched with each other. But there's a fucking difference, because you're both elves and you're from the sky. And this dude, I feel like there was just something in Nidus of yes, I'm supporting it. The Layrite, the Ether, let's do shady deals, let's do stuff. And then there's a sudden moment where you hear this prophecy, and a kid who had to fight on blood-soaked docks goes, wait, guys, it can actually get bad. I know that the real world's coming. I'm telling you, things can get bad. It felt so. Why? It was just such a cool transformation to watch.
Yeah, we're coming from privilege. We're like,
100%.
bad.
Very much so.
Bad. Bad is the water heater.
Man, we the baddest. That's what they were thinking.
That blight casting. I felt like I was 4 seconds behind everything everybody was doing in terms of all of that stuff. And when you said blight, I was like, wait, no. I'm not here.
You're gone for all of that.
And having blight was the luckiest guess. I was like, I kind of like this spell. Maybe I'll get to use it.
Oh.
Oh, a bad tree?
Oh.
There is, I will say, in the pantheon of pulling the heart through and of blighting the tree, one of the very nice things that was very sweet about the show puts Sarah's decision to leave up there in that.
If you would've been there.
That would have been a total fight if you
crazy.
were there. You could have stopped a lot of
Yes.
shit from
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah,
The
that
thing
is
was,
kinda crazy.
I remember like you leaving.
Wow, I
and
never
was
even
kinda
thought
like,
about it that one.
We'll get him later. Right?
I never thought about that. Yeah, like he wasn't there. That was wow. And you know what though? You know what? He wasn't there for the BS, okay? He wasn't there for the BS, but you know what? He was the least shady character in it. He stood out of the nonsense for the most part. He came back to do what he had to do. And you know what? He was able to leave and survive, and he was the only one who was able to leave to survive. Because yeah, he could have prevented a lot. But what if he would have died? What if, who knows what could have happened to Sarah? This is D&D, as you guys tell me all the time in the comments, okay? All right? It's all up to the dice. So he could have gotten a bad roll, Travis, I mean, and it could have been over. So, hey. I'm kind of glad that it did happen how it went, but I can't lie and act like I ain't curious about what would have happened. If some of you guys have thought about what you think would have happened, share your thoughts. I personally am happy that it happened the way that it happened. Personally, he got to see his kids. He lived. You know what it is? I feel like that was just the best case scenario. That's what I feel, anyways.
Like you leaving, and I was kind of like, we'll get him later. Right? It was like I truly like. It's fine.
It
Hey,
was
what's up?
bad.
Something really bad's gonna happen. I'll come back. All right, come on, guys. And then to have it be that we're fighting, it's like, oh shit, he should be here.
really
Why am I holding person?
Travis, like so if you had walked in at that moment,
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna share their thoughts.
Fire going.
Full Donald Glover.
Well, like knowing what you knew at the moment and your suspicions of everyone, but especially Mrs. over here, who would you have gone? Who would you have stopped? What side would you have taken? Who would those hot hawks have gone straight into?
I mean, it would have depended on what he walked into, but Paisha and Laren were 1 and 2 because I just assumed
That's
that
your
Xerxes.
Mm.
1 and 2 meaning the people you love and trust.
No, that
the
I would
most?
try and take down the
Oh, okay.
fastest.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and Xerxes
I don't
would
know
be
if you were
like
gonna be able
3,
to
but
get
I
through.
would
They had a
assume
crazy defense
that
together.
He, wasn't trying to fucking befriend a betrayer god. But I also knew that Nidus, with all that bard shit that I haven't seen yet, because we hadn't rolled. I didn't know what he, what was capable of coming out. There was a chance that it was just going to go bad. And what was so interesting was that I made the choice, just on an RP thing, to go after the kids and stretch the story that way. And then as soon as I left, I was like, oh, I'm going to let them fuck each other up for come in when they're tired.
That's very
Oh yeah, that's smart.
That's way better.
Oh my God. We have a fan question, you guys. Yes. Hot off the presses from Andrea or Andrea. It's to Abria or Abria.
I did that so
correct.
much.
Was Laren's urgency to get the astral lay right done before the next apogee solstice only so that she could fix or focus on her relationship with Loquacious before he was gone? Question mark. Or was there something she was hoping to do on other planes she was working towards that involved him?
Oh,
/
good
me as
question. Good
Aw,
question.
babe.
So what were you up to?
Sweet. I think the drive to get it done in this one was suddenly realizing her introduction was, hey, this is not only going to be your best shot, but it's even better than you were hoping for to pull this off.
And
So
she's like, I gotta do
everyone
it.
has over-indexed for how focused she was in that moment. But if you get the best news that you have your best chance of success at pulling off something that you've worked for more than a decade on, of course that's the thing you care about the most. She wanted it done and taken care of because in that sort of type A personality, on the flowchart she was get the lay right done, fix your marriage, or at least repair that relationship so that it can be as good as it can be again, because she knew that she still had feelings for him.
But the lay right.
I want to say real quick, speaking of Laren, and I know I like talked about her character being so crazily cracked, and even Abria talked about like how she like consulted her friend, and they worked on this character for a little bit, just to make sure it would be Laren would be crazy strong, right? But if you think about it, like in like the case of like the character themselves, is funny because Laren is like a prodigy, both intellectually and just uh as far as ability, like fighting ability, fighting IQ. Her IQ carried over from the science to the fighting. Like she wasn't, the maybe not the best hand to hand or whatever, but her fight IQ was insane at all times, and she had the power, the knowledge. I don't know if it was just kind of intuition or if she had to work at being that strong and that astute, but she was crazy in both regards. Like she was insane. I just want to say that too. I don't know if like anybody's put two and two together, like the both of her scientific IQ and just fighting IQ were just off the charts. She was really, really smart. Dope character, really cool character.
Right, came.
But the Laren came first because
Came due.
it needed to get done.
Yeah.
It was a time-bounded thing.
Yeah.
I think everything past the plains. Like there was no like, I want to send him home to the Feywild. That was just like her, like the little dream in the back of her mind was, once this is done, we can go visit your home plane together.
There was
and
a lot
won't that be a
that
lovely?
with a lot of our characters, like once we get this, we can focus on the real stuff.
Exactly.
Just this one last thing.
This one last thing.
Yeah.
I can
And
rest
isn't that how
in
it
it.
always happens?
There's nothing
That's
more
how it
fun.
is in real life too.
Mhm.
Knowing you're playing a game that's
John
going
Get
to
too greedy.
stop at the calamity. There's nothing more tragic than like having telegraphing future plans of all the things you'll
Speaking
get
of
to.
plans, another question was how much of the Laren loquacious relationship was planned before the game?
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah,
about
let's-
this
okay.
because
Ooh.
I got our text
Holy
thread.
shit.
God, it's
You do?
I got our text thread up where
There's
Abria
some scrolling.
says
There's some scrolling.
it's a long thread.
Okay.
She says, Lorwyn is her first name.
Oh, I changed it. That's right.
Haven't decided on a surname. Thoughts on yours?
Are you just gonna read
Uh-huh.
it? This is
I love
bad.
thoughts on yours is a funny double meaning there. Like I haven't thought of his surname. Could I have yours?
yeah.
I said, my current name is Loquacious Hambrick Zucker. Hambrick Zucker?
You
Oh, that's a
You
great
absolutely
name.
robbed us. I could've
That's a
had
great
Loquacious
name.
Hambrick Zucker.
Like a ham brick?
Now will never happen.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a different.
Only Sam, dude. Only Sam.
Hambrick Zucker.
Only Sam.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He
I was
is.
like, I don't want to be married to have been married to that. Thank you. No, thank you.
We made some better choices.
That's a no.
Hambrick Zucker have like a charisma.
Rick, that's just 2 words.
Like, just Hambrick Zucker is a name with like a charisma of 6 and a
Constitution of 22.
Like,
Hambrick Zucker is definitely like creating his own cryptocurrency.
Think of a brick and how durable that would be.
My very next text on the thread is, maybe I should simplify my stupid ass last name to something much more fey, since that's where I'm from. How about Loquacious Sealy, implying that I'm from the Sealy court, like Elminor? Wasn't that something you did with Fern on EXU?
That's very kind. I was like, oh, you are.
There's a character called Fern, huh? That she does.
But to answer the,
I really want to see the
original
other
question,
EXU
how much
stuff,
of
but
the
I don't want to get
relationship was planned,
spoiled for
we
like
figured
stuff
out,
for the
like, a
show
timeline.
Yeah.
that I'm
How many
watching
years
for
we
like
were
Vox
married, how many
Machina or
years we
Mighty
were not
Nine or
married.
anything, but I
We
really
figured
would like
out,
to check that stuff
loosely
out. I
why
just
we
don't
had
think that I
split.
should. Because I
And
think,
this one
spoilers
here
for
was like,
campaign
hey,
2
is it
and all
okay
that,
if I was the reason?
from what I hear anyways.
Look, we had already met in our little nasty gal meeting, and I was like, I want to be the bad one. Yeah, I'll do it. I did it. What'd I do?
And I was like, well, no, can't we both be at fault? Yeah, so we were.
Look, I'm just mad because I came away from our text conversation going, what a fun bit this will be. And then you proceeded to fucking knock me out with an emotion every 20 minutes. Whenever I covered my full face with my hands, it was because I was fully actually crying. Like, what is he doing? These are feelings.
That was a discovery. Honestly, it was planned as a bit. Like we were just going to be sniping at each other. I think I talked to Brendan at least about how, hey, it would be really great if over the course of these 4 episodes, we could he could discover things about himself that are he could be more honest with himself about what he's become, and maybe he doesn't like what he's become, and maybe that would affect us in some way, and maybe by the end of it, we could reconcile or something.
Maybe
But that's not up
Abria
to
did
you
the
to
same
decide,
sort of thing.
obviously.
No, and I mean, that was honestly the parts of the story that I probably had my hands off the most for were your guys' scenes. There was a whole scene in
Oh, wow.
I think at the beginning of episode 3 or something like that, where it's just you guys in the Meridian Labyrinth while the fight is raging, and it's just you guys having a heart-to-heart. And the scene in episode 1 when we're doing all the intro vignettes, where you guys and you alone had a vignette where you met, and I remembered. Because we had talked about it, and you had said this vision of Loquacious that like his life changed in a bad way with the Elena Tuveris, with the covering up of that secret. Because before then, you had actually been an honest reporter, and that was the beginning of you being like, okay, I'm going to acquiesce, and the Herald's tome is going to kind of become propaganda, and it is going to be kind of
So he
power pushing, but
he got
it was
corrupted.
also clearly bad for Loquacious,
Yeah.
right? And in that first scene where you were talking to Laren, where you go like, you're like, you have the fun sniping, it's super fun, the jokes are flying, and then you're like, let's try to not hate each other for a month. And it was so real, and I was like, they're locked in. I was like, I don't know where we end up by the end of episode 4. The fucking speech, the speech in episode 4.
Bro, that speech. Chef's kiss.
For $1, you could have seen this early and gotten these other perks too. So become a member for just $1. It's worth it.
And I know you guys are saying that you caught him writing it down prior, like writing stuff down on the paper, which was most likely the speech. And then also he might have been doing it during break, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might actually say it here. But that speech, bro, he even starts getting choked up reading it. Everybody's crying, at the table. Basically, everybody's like in their feelings. Crazy good speech. Crazy good speech.
That ding-dang speech.
Bro.
First of all, I don't know if I even want to know, but whether that quaver in your voice when you say "and to Laren, the Architect Arcane," most
No,
beautiful
that was
woman in the
real.
world.
That was real.
It makes me almost cry every time I've watched it. Of the 100 times I've watched it, it makes me almost want to cry. It's so profoundly beautiful, and whether that was honest emotion or performance,
Yeah, that was
it's
the part
equally
where
magical
everybody
either
cried.
way.
It was
That was
definitely honest. I am not a very good actor as opposed to what I said earlier. But yeah, I fell in love with her during the game. It was amazing.
Beautiful.
Well, okay, let me brag on Sam for a minute, because we had a conversation a really long time ago, like, I don't know, 5-6 years. We were still in campaign 1. And we were talking about like how we role play, and I was kind of, I don't even remember how it came about in conversation, but was kind of asking like how you accessing things and you call back to things, and like where you are influenced from your character's decisions. And you said like, I just always try to remember what came before, like everything in these formative rungs of a ladder. So I just always try to think about like what has already happened, and that's which sounds really like basic when
But a lot of people don't take
say
that
it
into
out
consideration.
there,
When you're in
but
the
I think it is
moment in
something that
improv,
people-
like,
it's easy to forget.
bro, when you're in the moment and you're trying to improv something like that, and things are happening, it's very easy to get lost in the person that you're playing currently, without taking into account necessarily your backstory or things like that would have happened before, and if your character would be phased or hesitate on a current action due to how it may affect how other people perceive them, like Laren would have perceived Loquacious, or how people in general would perceive him, or if it's even worth it, maybe they went through a huge character arc and people don't think, damn, okay, this character that I'm playing went through a crazy character arc. I'm about to do something off the wall, but let me take a step back and think about like where I came from before I made this decision and everything that led up to it. Should I? Is it worth it? Or should I do something else? Or should I still do it but spin it in this way? It's very hard to do something like that, and I think that goes to show how much like care and effort Sam puts into his characters, because we always see, at least I do, I don't know about you guys, Sam as a funny dude. You know, you can always count on him to bring a really charismatic character. I mean, him picking Scanlan as his character for Vox Machina, I think fits him so perfectly, because he's like so charismatic, you know, he's so likable, and he just effortlessly can make you laugh, you know. Um, but I think behind that, when it's time for him to get serious, you know, it makes his serious moments hit that much harder. And I think we're all thrown off by his serious moments because we're so used to him being able to just make us feel so like happy or joyful or make us smile. Then when he gets serious and when there's a heartfelt moment, we're thrown off by it. But let's not forget, Sam, Sam's about this life, okay? And he's very smart, very meticulous, and he does such a great job with this, like playing his characters and really putting care into what his characters do. A lot of the times when you have somebody who's charismatic, joyful, a lot of the times they're, you know, they're trying to like hide behind a mask, you know, that's like they put forth that, you know, happy go lucky, whatever it may be, you know, persona, but they've probably been through some stuff. They probably have like a lot of trauma that helps them better relate to other people, and they know exactly how to cheer people up and make people laugh, because they know, okay, this is where this person is at if they're upset, and I know exactly how to get them happy because I was upset like that once, and this is what I would do to make myself happy, you know. Yeah, Sam's amazing at this stuff. I don't want to ramble on too much, but um what Marisha just said about him speaks volumes about him, and I just wanted to also give that perspective on somebody like him and like how hard he works, because he, you know, he's talented in all these other aspects of like, you know, he's a singer, acting, and all that stuff, but he's super smart with this. He cares a lot about his characters, and he's just really good at making everything hit, not just the serious moments, but the funny moments, and he's great. All right, that's enough of me gushing over Sam. Let's let Marisha gush over Sam.
Especially when you're in the moment. And
Ooh,
the people
she said
really
it.
like basic
She said
when
what I
you
said.
when you say it out there. But I think it is something that people, it's easy to forget, especially when you're in the moment.
Mm-hmm. See, she said it. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's always kind of like stuck with me. And I think that speech that you wrote was like a master class in just being 100%
Why she keep taking the words out of my mouth, bro? Why she doing that? That's crazy. But she's so right.
informed from everything that had already happened.
Yeah.
And because it's easy to make shit up, and you could have made something up about, like, you know, the Avalier, where it's going and whatever, but everything was referenced from something that had previously happened.
And you could tell somebody like Sam, and I'm pretty sure all these people were doing. I mean, this is just so much fun. You know, to watch. I'm sure they all had a blast, you know, playing these characters. I'm sure they went home and they all thought about, where am I taking this character? What am I gonna do if this happens? But I think Sam did so and just thought about the little things. I think Sam thought about the little things, or thinks about the little things more than the average person. I think that the people that put the most thought behind their characters, if I'm being honest, who I think put the most thought behind their characters, were Xerxes, Laren, and uh Loquacious, you know, Lewis, Abria, and Sam. Um I think that those were the ones that really got deep in, like, in the minds of their characters, put themselves in their shoes, really thought about where they wanted to take their characters, and at the end of every session that they had, out of these 4 parts, these 4 sessions they had to do this story, I think that those 3 people went home and took the most time, and just literally hours upon hours just were thinking about things, thinking about scenarios, thinking about their characters, thinking about like what happened in like the session that they just played. and how that's going to affect their character moving forward in the next section. You know, like I think those three people really had the most fun, if I'm being honest. I could be wrong, but based on their performances, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody else because everybody did phenomenal, but I think they had the most to work with. And in a way, I think they had the most to work with because they made it so, because they were just that good and they enjoy that. Again, that's just my opinion.
And
Chicken
yeah, it was just
scratch.
incredible.
Yeah.
On a legal pad
Yeah.
that only you really could read. Done in the shadows in like a matter of minutes while you were standing next to all of us being dumbasses on a break.
Yeah.
You came back with that.
Yeah, like I don't use this. I don't say this lightly. The from that beautiful moment of Laren where you're like, oh my God, this is someone who's literally grappling in the moment with the fact that moments ago he made the decision to die. Made the decision to go down with the ship.
Yes.
And is speaking about the reason that he chose to do that. And then the moment after that, and remember the Market of Wonders. I just need to say that is, and I've seen, you know.
Remember how I just talked about he can take you from just crying or so sad to laughing in an instant. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's why Sam is so good. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I've been lucky enough to see a couple of them in my life. That is a perfect joke.
Yes.
It is a perfect joke because to do something that funny that comes at a moment. Do you know what I'm saying? This is like a Campbell quote, but he literally says something about comedy. Campbell says something about comedy where he says, comedy completes the realization that drama begins.
Oh, that's fire.
Right?
That's
where
a
it's
bar.
like, you know.
Another Brennan bar.
Where there's something where it's like, oh, I have not contradicted the depth of my sorrow. I have not contradicted the meaningfulness of my sadness, but I have introduced something profoundly absurd and wonderfully silly. And I am not uncommitted in the moment of doing it. In the moment of doing it, it's exactly what I would do, and it's hysterical, and it's also makes it even more sad. It makes the sad thing more, just like, and remember the Market of Wonders. It's so fucking good.
Lewis is about to cry just sitting there
I was
thinking
talking
about it.
to a bunch of friends, and we were like, they're also like RPG people, and they were like, what's your favorite decision you ever made in a game? And my answer, and it remains to this day, was when we were in our character gen and you came in, you're like, I kind of want to be divorced. Who wants to do it? Best decision I ever made was being like, me, pick me.
Yeah.
Because this was
It
the
was
most
fast and
fun.
loud.
Yeah, I did.
Like,
I had no chill about that. I was like, I will lunge for Laura. Like, don't stop. Let me have it. I don't want to fight you, but I will.
It was great.
So thank you.
Great pair up.
Well,
Great
it really
combo.
was like so incredible to watch because I think you guys really hit on, what any type of a couple goes through. Where
It
and
was
especially
so
when you're like
real,
a third party
dude.
watching a couple bicker, where
It's
you're like,
it's so real. They nailed that shit.
they're both right and they're both wrong. Uh-oh. And this is where like
He got her back. Yep.
yeah. And you're just like, wow, you can like see just this
Dude, they
like
were so
these
good.
sediment
They were
layers
so good.
of damage
Great
and
chemistry,
trauma
phenomenal chemistry.
enacted on both sides. And that was incredible to watch.
Now, Marisha, I've always had a question for you. How does Paisha feel? How does Paisha feel about the deal
Whoa.
her grandfather
Why you sit
struck
up like that?
with the Galdra?
Me too, brother. Me too.
Galdrashari?
Me too.
What?
I can't say that shit.
Yeah,
For like a long
you know, it's funny. I've been
yeah.
me and the boys, we've been talking, and we've been
boys.
wondering, what are Paisha's opinions about her grandfather and a family name?
Wow, yeah, excellent
Thank
question, Lou. Oh man, I don't even know where to begin with this. Ultimately, like super high level, when I started thinking
Bro,
about
Lewis-
Paisha, and
listen,
I went to
bro.
Brennan, and I was
Lewis has got a great beard, son. That shit is clean. I got the struggle beard. You know what I mean? Let me see. You see that? yeah. No, you can't really see on that side. Hey, listen, bro. I try to, I try to line it up the best I can, but the shit be struggling sometimes. You know what I mean? But that's a nice beard. You know what I mean? Full. You know what I'm saying? Can't lie. I'm a little jealous.
like, I think I want to make her like a Kennedy. Like I want her to be
Grateful.
yeah, like just someone who is so deeply entrenched in the history of Avalier and the political structure of Avalier. And I've talked a little bit about this as well, that like Laura was originally supposed to play. So she built like the very bare, structure of what this character was going to be. And she was like, politics. And I was like, fuck. You want me I gotta do politics? Okay. And especially because a lot of times in D&D or role playing, kind of like what you're talking about, like the orphan trope, it's easy to go for like the scrappy, work your way up from nothing, especially when you're going from low level to high level. But since we were starting at such a high level and entrenched in in everything to do with Avalier, it was just kind of this perfect opportunity to build someone from the start who was super high society, incredible lineage in the city. And we talked so much. It was like why it was so wild when you were like, what about her parents in the game? And I was like,
It was one of those things, I don't know, because you're never quite done world building, right?
Yeah.
Like there's lots of family relationships that we didn't explore. Like I don't necessarily know who Laren's parents are, right?
Yeah.
But
In the city, they died.
Oh shit.
Flowcharted.
Incredible. But like with Paisha, it was just this thing where in the middle of that episode, you so beautifully bookended it with happy replenishment, grandfather. And it was so beautiful. And the whole and really there was something so heartbreaking about Paisha. Ooh,
Yes.
I got a hit with emotion just saying that. I got hit a little bit.
Feeling.
Paige, it's none of you are all so fucking good at this. And it's not an accident that in the middle of the fight, Paisha looks at Laren and says, "You're my best friend." Because Paisha's alone. Yes. It's really fucking sad. And she's really, and it's someone who, and it just became clear in how you were playing Paisha that we got to the middle of episode 4 and I was like, this person was not treated well by this, and yes, incredible wealth, all of this power, but looking at who Amir was. And by the way, everything I said in the beginning, Amir was an asshole from the jump. From the first scene, what does he say to do? Avalier goes from here to here. It's gonna be beneath my eyes, right? I want the city to be underneath me. I'm looking down so the people down there can see my face, right? So that was immediately I was like, this is not a good guy, right?
Yeah.
And
That's an interesting way to think about
he-
that. Okay.
when we got to that point in that final episode, I just realized how alone Paisha was, how much of herself she had given up to the service of this vision, and now that it was all slipping away from her. And especially as everyone was kind of like Xerxes had gone to Kath Moira, Sarah had gone to get his kids out. Loquacious and Laren were finding each other. Even Nidus fucking had Alessander. There was this thing with
that's
Paisha
true,
where I was
man.
just like, who does she
Paisha only had
have?
Laren.
Standing in front of the
Statue, yeah.
fucking
Statue.
That's
Standing
it.
alone.
And I just looked at it and I was like, the fact that we've never talked about your character's parents' contribution, it sort of just came to me in that moment, and we had to communicate it while the cameras were rolling.
Yeah.
But I was like, your parents are gone.
Yeah.
And gone from your memory. Because I was like, the most horrifying thing of someone, it's the hammer and nail, right? If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And the idea of your memory erasing everybody, you've done it to yourself. Or it's happened to
It's
your
happening.
grandfather.
Yeah. What's the likelihood?
What's the
Pretty
likelihood?
fucking high.
So that moment of just like your parents failed,
Yeah.
and in so failing, in some way or another, your grandfather was like, "You're gonna succeed where they failed."
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
I
so
like
have a
that, I
question.
like that,
So,
okay.
your grandfather was up to some shit.
But very hot.
Brennan, the gal,
Everybody's
the
up to some shit
Galdrishari.
apparently.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
What was it like unraveling that for the first time to all of us and the audience and everything
Did you
else?
consult with Matt?
Yeah, I mean,
Nah, I fucking winged it, dude. I said, "This is where the Ashari come from." Of course, I consulted with Matt.
Where they come from.
I
was
wouldn't be
I honestly,
surprised.
Matt can attest to it. I was blowing up his phone nonstop. I was like, could this be true about some druids? Just truly trying to check in as much as possible because, and obviously, the guys doing the entirety of planning for C3, so I was trying to make it as short and concise as possible. But essentially, I was like, okay, for this, I think it started with the primordials. I was like, the primordials are sealed because I was trying to be like, I want there to be apocalyptic stakes here, but we know our betrayer gods are focused on Vasselheim, so they're not rocking up to Avalier's not their priority.
Yeah.
So how do we make there be some stakes here in this moment? And I was like, oh, there's some primordials sealed under the mountain, and there's another prophecy.
I want to just take a moment to like speak on what he's talking about here, about him like consulting Matt, and he's talking about all this lore and like how he was thinking about stuff. Both of these guys have their own other like several projects that they're doing, and they're GMing for, it seems like, or at least playing for at once. And for him to come through every week for his session and lock in, and I'm talking about Brennan right here as a GM, and lock in and be able to so like perfectly guide this story to the conclusion that it had to go to, while dealing with these other projects, while the cameras are off and he's doing his own thing. Like, not enough credit is given like to these DMs or GMs. Like, for those of you who are DMs or GMs, right? Is it normal for you to be in charge of like several stories at once? I could never, dude. If that's the case, I would think that maybe two, maybe two. But for like these guys who have like all these other projects going on, like aside from D&D that they're in charge of, to be able to just kind of like lock in, do their homework, do their research, and retain what they need to retain for their campaign, be able to do it for hours on end during a session, carry it to where it's got to go for that session, go off camera, then go and try to do some more work on a story that they're working on, or continue another session with another group of people that they're working with that's got a whole other story that they've then got to lock in, get into character for that, and the NPCs for that campaign is like insane. It's insane. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Let me know if it's normal. I could never. I couldn't do it. But props to GMs, or even if you're just doing one of them. Because a lot of you guys got families, you guys got other responsibilities outside of this. A lot of you guys aren't lucky enough to do this, for your living. This is your hobby, this is your passion. But for you to be able to go through your own personal lives and then be able to do something like this, crazy. You guys are so talented.
About and so there was just a session where I was talking to Matt, and I was like, something with these old druids that used to be there in the mountain, and Matt was like, and I think Matt fully pitched all of the stuff surrounding like Matt. First of all, the name Gaudrashari is a Matt Mercer original.
Ooh, cool.
When you said it, I was like, Gaudrashari?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He pulled it off the dome so fast. It was fucked up. I was like, what about the druids? And he's like, the Gaudrashari. And I went, fuck, that was just right there. We watched it happen.
Matt Mercer.
There it is.
Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer. What the fuck?
Telling you, man, super talented.
And then the I had been talking about like it was a perfect marriage, I feel like, of because like I was coming in with these like story beat things, right? Because for me, of like, especially doing short run seasons, it's like, okay, here's the beats we have to hit, and I was like, and then going to the fucking the creator of Exandria, this like master world builder, and being like, it would be great if Vespin had released the betrayer gods from their prison, but there was some other stumbling block that we can focus on in this story. If there's something from these druids that they put in the city that the wizards kind of don't give a shit about anymore, right? So you can even hear like in how I'm saying it, of like, here's a fucking fuzzy little thing I need for a story thing to happen. And Matt goes like, okay, and just immediately on the call spins this whole thing about the Gaudrashari and the fact that the primordials, there's an analogy to the elemental gates of the Ashari, and the idea of the elemental rifts, like the idea of there's always been this connection to elementalism through the primordials and other stuff like that. And then the Tree of Names being this thing that was itself crafting a druidic protection over the world was also a Matt Mercer original.
I mean, you guys,
So sick.
obviously, we know that both of you are super talented,
Crazy
but the way that
talented.
you guys did this together is just
Crazy.
astounding.
It's
know.
like
I'm doing
Astounding.
this.
it's
I'm
like
doing
you
this to
know
camera.
in DBZ. I mean, I'm gonna go with the Janemba movie and the Super Broly movie. Bro, when Goku, it's like when Goku and Vegeta do the fusion dance and they turn to Gogeta. Brother, it's over, bro. It's already two like crazy talented people, and you gonna put them together? Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wheat wrap.
But also, Matt's literally right there.
Oh shit.
No, it was so cool to. It was also so cool for me as a player because, you know, I've only ever really played in one shots or 3-year-long epic campaigns.
Yeah.
So it was cool to come into a short-ish, you know, I guess short medium story, and just to see how you approached it and how you approached gently pushing and prodding us into character creation that would serve a shorter form story, and keeping us sort of always on task with like, okay, you don't have a short term, a medium term, and a long term goal. You really just have this one. This is the one that we get. We got to keep you focused on it. And it was just so cool to watch you balance the needs of this short form story with the demands of Matt's gigantically huge world. And it was that in and of itself is a feat. And you should be
Yes.
congratulated.
100%.
Thanks, man.
You suck, Brennan.
Again, and he's got other stuff that he's going through. He's got other stuff that he's working on.
helps if
Well,
it's the
you know.
clap.
It was what an incredible book. And I feel like that's the you know, so much of the fun of stepping in here for this story was that thing of like almost like an operator, a switchboard, right? Because you have all this beautiful material and you're like, okay, Vespin chlorid, like all of the, I was going back over it, like it's like, why was Asmodeus the betrayer god? And you're like, in the lore of Exandria, pre-established by Matt, the rumor is that Vespin Chloris is at the right hand of Asmodeus. And you read that and you go, well, if this motherfucker released every betrayer god, why is he at the right hand of just this one guy? And just all of a sudden, just the ideas start coming, and it's very like, okay, and you plug that in there, and you go, okay, so Vespin does that, but it's the age of Arcanum also was just shitty wizards everywhere. So I don't want it to be like these guys were fucking just like, we never did anything wrong, and just Vespin Chloris ruined fucking everything for us. It's like, no, you're all fucking culpable, baby. Like Vespin is symptomatic of the larger age, right? Like, and you all share some blame in this, right? And then establishing, but like, why does Vespin Chloris have the unique sort of like station that he does in the conscience of Exandria? And it's like, well, number one, Avalier was so destroyed that like, what fucking stories came out of it, right? As opposed to
Hold on, let me go
Vasselheim,
back.
like station that he does in the conscience of Exandria. And it's like, well, number one, Avalier was so destroyed that like, what fucking stories came out of it, right? As opposed to Vasselheim, which we know does get successfully defended by the prime deities, and Vespin Chloris's like crimes were known in the city. So it's like his story has a way better chance of surviving historically.
Oh, that's cool. So that's like sort of like what I was touching on in the beginning of the reaction, where I was talking about like, oh, do we have any lore on like how these characters are viewed, perceived, what they did afterwards, you know, whatever. It got a little bit of that for Vespin, I guess. But I'm gonna stop this part here. I think I'm gonna finish it up with a part 3 next time. So yeah, that was my second part of the reaction to the Calamity Wrap-Up. If you made it this far, please leave a like, maybe subscribe, and if you are a subscriber and you're not a channel member yet, what are you waiting for? It's honestly just a great way to support me, really, but it's $1. It's just $1 to support your boy. If you really enjoy my content and you want to see it early and you get all the perks, like I said, great way to support me, great way to help me grow, and it's $1, guys. hook a brother up if you feel if that's what you want to do. But anyways, I'm gonna get into my thoughts, and if you're interested, here we go. Another very eye-opening part to the wrap up. There was a lot of discussion here. I had a lot to say in this part. I think I had a little bit to say in the last part, but I feel like I definitely had a lot to say in this part as well. And this is really just, again, I want to give huge props to um, everybody involved in this cast and crew that we don't see behind the scenes, and the crew that we do see, Matt and Brennan being able to GM and DM all these different things and keep the story on track and come in every single session and just knock it out the park, where they're having to adapt their story and kind of like what they're going to do, what they're going to say on the fly, while keeping it on like a certain general course. And they do that for, several different, campaigns or whatever. Like they have other stuff going on. Like, props to them, props to the players, especially Sam, Abria, and Lewis for their characters and how they play their characters, especially. But everybody, Lou, Travis, Marisha, everybody knocked it out the park. I just wanted to really bring some attention to like how talented these people are, how hard this is, and how hard they work. It's so crazy how like some people say that this show is like this is scripted, dude. Like it, it's a compliment to them, because it's like, damn, we're doing it that well that you think that we're scripting this. Um, but how do you think this is scripted, bro? Like, to an extent, it's scripted. Obviously, like I said, they have a generic or a general direction, I should say, not generic, a general direction of where they want to take the story and where they know what they know they want to do with their characters. But to say that this is scripted, to say that D&D with dice, literal roll of the dice, is scripted, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. These guys are hardworking people. Well, guys, gals, hardworking people. And yeah, nothing but the utmost respect for them. Again, very just eye opening, and just this getting a little idea of like, oh, well, what if Sarah were to be there? Who would he have taken out first? At least now we know he would have tried to go for Paisha and Lyran. Just like little things we got to learn. I learned about Paisha's thoughts on her family, on her grandfather, and Lyran's thoughts on a little bit more on Loquacious, what happened to Lyran's parents, stuff like that. What did Nidus think about all this stuff and the final moments, and like how did Lou come to the realization at the end, like, okay, this is where I'm going from here. This is like my last stand. This is the last thing I'm gonna do with this character, because this is the only thing that he would do in this moment. But I definitely feel like a lot of them put a little bit of themselves in the characters, of course, which is why it gets so emotional. Because I do think that a lot of, not just themselves, but I think that we can all see ourselves a little bit in these characters. And especially with like Loquacious and just like everybody in general, because they were so like such crooked people for the most part, or they kind of they weren't they did some shady stuff because there were some shady people. I think that the moments where they were sincere and they tried to do genuine like good and they were selfless, I think that those moments hit so hard, because you know we can all relate to, not being the best or making mistakes. But you know what? Saying to ourselves or saying to the people around us, like, now we're going to redeem ourselves, or we're going to do better next time, or we have to do better this time. And like, you know, wanting that for yourself and for the people around you, is a powerful thing. And to be vulnerable enough and honestly, vulnerable enough and honest enough to present yourself, for them to present their characters in that way. I think we can all see a little bit of like the beauty in the sorrow, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And we can see the beauty in the redemption, so to speak. And it's like one of those moments where, for just a moment, you're like, you know what? Nah, you guys aren't so bad. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I feel the way I feel about them. We agree to disagree if you guys, but I think that's what just makes their moments so great. And I think that they were played that way perfectly, and they were written that way perfectly, and for a reason as well. And it hit. But yeah, we're gonna finish this off next time. I just wanted to give my props and my flowers to everybody here, because seriously, dude, everybody does such a great job, and nobody talks about this kind of stuff enough. Like, nobody is going to talk about how hard these people work, and they go home. Like, the session doesn't just end here. They go home to their families, they go home to their friends, they have their own lives, aside from just this. And for them to take the time to really care about these characters, put themselves in these characters' shoes, and come in every day to knock it out the park for all of us, and really want to do that, and to be so passionate about it that they get emotional, and it makes us, everybody get emotional. Like, these are some hardworking people. Everybody that we see on camera and we don't see on camera are some really hardworking people. And I just want to say that. I want to give them their flowers, all right? I don't know if they would ever see something like this, but I would like them to know that, hey, y'all are appreciated, and I think that we should all be a little more considerate when we make statements like this is scripted, or not so nice comments, I should say. Like, this is scripted. Everybody has the right to be a little skeptical. I get it, but like, there's no way. You know what I mean? Like, and even if it was, let's say it was, which it's not. It's definitely not. Let's say it was. Is it really taken away from the product and their acting ability and like how they're doing all this? No, doesn't make a difference. But it is more impressive. That's all it is. A hell of a lot more impressive. But anyways, I'm gonna get on out of here. Y'all leave your thoughts. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Again, consider becoming it's just $1. Consider becoming a channel member. All right, it helped me out a ton. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Peace.